New year, new cars. What? Are you guys confused? Every year, the designs of the cars for Formula One change. Each competitor has its brand new design every year. Don't you guys want to know the changes that they'll bring to the cars in 2023? Aren't you excited to know about it? Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So stay tuned until the end to learn more about the most recent updates to F1 2023 cars. Before moving on, don't forget to click the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon. Now, join us to learn about this. As the 2022 Formula One season ends, attention turns to 2023 and the emerging interesting themes and rivalries. After one of the most significant changes to technical regulations in F1 history, next season will be greeted with a sense of continuity. But that hasn't stopped plenty of other changes from making the 2018 campaign stand out. Following the COVID-enforced changes of recent years, key driver market changes will take effect, while the race calendar will continue to expand. For the 2022 Formula One season, the aerodynamics regulation were revised, reintroducing a ground effect formula for the first time since 1982. This was done to reduce the current reliance on wings for downforce, which has been blamed for the dirty air that has made close quarters racing difficult in recent years, and instead put much of the onus on the floor and has added Venturi tunnels to develop downforce. Regulatory changes included the switch to 18-inch tires for 2022, bodywork around the wheels, and a complete call of bargeboard devices to achieve the desired effects in terms of racing. DRS was kept in the 2022 rule set to migrate the lower slipstream effects on the straights, a natural byproduct of the change in aerodynamics. Despite the modifications, the cars were barely a second slower overall than in 2021. Although the 2022 cars struggled more than their predecessors, their speed in higher speed corners helped close some gaps. One of the most serious issues caused by the changes was the emergence of porpoising and bouncing, a phenomenon which the car isolates on the straights. For the drivers, this caused discomfort and lack of visibility. An FIA standard accelerometer already installed in each car is used to assess whether a car meets the FIA's AOM, with the base measure set at 10 kilograms, 100 kilometers as its upper limit. Each car means AOM will be calculated from an eligible lap, which excludes in-laps, out-laps, and safety car laps. The FIA has the authority to disqualify the driver of the cars that exceeds that metric, but teams have three bailout options. The ground effect floor specifications for the 2023 will be raised by 15 millimeters to reduce the number of teams driving their vehicle as low as possible, and risk safety problems created by vertical oscillations. Initially planned as a 25mm rise, but team pushback has reduced the overall change in floor edge height. This involves more strict flex tests to ensure that teams are not leveraging floor elasticity to run the edge closer to the ground and raise the diffuser throat height to lessen aerodynamic sensitivity under the car. Following Cho Yanyu's crash at the 2022 British Grand Prix, the roll hoop regulations were altered to boost strength and limit the likelihood of the roll hoop digging into the ground. To counteract this risk, the top of the roll hoop must be rounded, and homologation tests will be modified to include a minimum loading point, and horizontal tests to guarantee the roll hoop does not rip away. Each car will also have wider mirrors to increase rear visibility, which some teams have previously tested in practice sessions. These will be increased in size from 150mm by 50mm to 200mm by 60mm. Raising the sides of the floor will make it more difficult for teams to physically seal the rear part of the Ventura tunnels from ambient air pressure. This was a response to loud protests from F1 teams who had already dealt with the purpose and were thus simply able to adjust the ride height lower. Mercedes were unwilling to accept the performance loss that came from doing so, and thus forced the FIA into rule changes, something the rest of the grid was very angry about. During the Canadian Grand Prix weekend, Mercedes created a stir by unveiling a remarkable front wing outfitted with various flaps designed to increase downforce. However, the FIA will allow less freedom in front wing design in 2023, implying that such an extreme design will most likely not be seen again. Previous generations of Formula One cars produced nowhere near the same levels of downforce as the current cars, which is why this has only recently become a problem. As the car pushes itself into the track, the water beneath the tires is displaced, forcing it out and up behind the car, causing a massive amount of spray and blinding the drivers behind the lead car. The FIA anticipates that the wheel arches will reduce spray, increase vision this year, and be ready for use as early as the second part of the 2023 season. The goal is to perform track testing on F1 vehicles to evaluate their suitability after the teams have prepared and agreed upon a viable design. The FIA believes they can enhance visibility in wet circumstances by 50%, which might result in a resumption of true rainy weather racing. So, while the requirements for 2023 may be comparable to those for 2022, the tiny modifications we've shared with you could significantly impact how automobiles are developed for next year. Tell us in the comments what you believe will be the most significant change for next year.